You can find the Q&A panel at the bottom right hand of the console. Please leave the chat window for communication to our WebEx facilitator for any technical problems you may be experiencing. This session is being recorded, and you will receive an email containing a link to the recorded session later this week. We would appreciate your input regarding today's webcast. A short survey is going to pop up when you close your browser at the end of the event. For further incentives to complete the survey, we will be selecting 3 individuals who complete the survey to receive a $25 American Express gift card. If you're one of the lucky winners, you will receive an email requesting your physical mailing details. At this time, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Charlie Mascari. Charlie, I'll turn the program over to you.
Thank you very much, Katie. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today for the Cisco Knowledge Network webinar for Cisco Prime Network Registrar. And as you can see on the slide, our subtitle is an integrated DDI solution for the Internet of Things. Let's go into the presentation. We're going to talk about some global trends, challenges, and operational requirements that we see on an ongoing basis as we talk to customers and prospects. We're going to talk a bit about the Prime Network Registrar DDI solution and the value proposition that it provides. And we're also going to talk about it in context with the Internet of Things and in general as we move forward, what we're doing with the application suite in support of cloud-based computing. With me today is Peter Newcomb. Pete, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today.
And Peter's our technical marketing engineer for the portfolio. So let's dig into this presentation. I'm going to give you a few statistics that we actually took from the Cisco Visual Networking Index. You can access that through the internet. Just search for it on Google and you'll find it. And it has a lot of statistics that I think are very pertinent and important and kind of indicative of what's going on in the space and gives us an opportunity to kind of forecast out some really staggering numbers, some numbers that relate to the Internet of Things and kind of talk to the fact that as we go forward, it's going to be very important to have a handle on and be able to manage your IP address space. As you can see here, just the number of devices that we're talking about for network devices is very significant at 21 billion devices. And as you look at the Internet users and the growth in the Internet of, you see the number looking at 4 billion. These numbers are factored into the IP traffic data that's been factored by the Visual Networking Index. And I believe most of these are actually targeted at 2018 for the actual data that we're looking at here. So as you go forward and you can look at this data yourself, we continually update it. And this is kind of indicative, I think, of why we're talking today about DDI and the solutions that have to fit into a broader context of both cloud-based and premise-based solutions. As you look at the Internet of Everything, you have the construct of people, process, data, and things. And today we've been managing very well with regards to, the first of the 3 of these. And as we go forward, I think we have to incorporate more and more the construct of things and being able to automate as much as possible any information flow with those devices. And part of that is provisioning those devices in a very advantageous way, in an expeditious way. People are telling us and our customers in our prospect meetings that they're being asked to accelerate provisioning. And this is an area where, as you go forward, we'll see this need increase, and we'll also see a lot of applications for captive portal or bring your own device and the ability to get onto a network in a secure mechanism or a secure way. Got some feedback there. I'm not sure where that's coming from. All right. So as we go forward, we're going people to people, people to machine, and machine to machine. And when you go machine to machine, you're going to want to automate some of this process as much as possible. And we'll just talk a little bit about what that means here. So you've got a lot of new technologies today that you've introduced into your environment. Probably most of you, if you haven't already, are considering or implementing voice over IP for your telephony. You've got the capability and the capacity to actually introduce video on your network, and probably are using video, or at least some of your end users are using video content for training exercises and things of that nature. And of course, with virtual computing, many of these things, specifically voice over IP and virtualization, are going to require additional IP address space. Today, that may be IPv4, but you may also be tasked with trying to accommodate IPv6 in this arena. As we look forward, we also see that network operators are under increased pressure to reduce or to stay level with their operating expenses. And OpEx is a big area where we look to see if we can mitigate and minimize any impact to OpEx through automation and through a better lifecycle management of your address space. Obviously, security is a big issue, especially as you move forward. Customers are seeing more and more in the area of DNS attacks, and we're looking at what needs to be done there to support our customers. As you'll see, this is an area we focus on very heavily. And then, of course, just the management and the overall life cycle management of the address space is something that becomes more and more important. Again, if you haven't already started to implement a V6 strategy, you'll be tasked with doing so as the Internet of Things impacts your environment. So if you have an address space issue today, perhaps you're minimizing the impact to your network by using some overlapping address space in various areas, but you get to the point where maybe you're having difficulty maintaining that. You're looking at possibly doing some things with regards to dual stack capabilities. You have to start planning for that today, and once you start planning dual stack, you start to uncover a number of other issues. Some of those issues are going to relate to traditional OSS and BSS issues that you want to address, and tying in your DDI environment, your IP address management, your DHCP and DNS into an environment where you have to address regulatory compliance, business support, configuration management. Probably want to do some reporting of the environment. These are all areas where, as you go forward, these are going to become more vital. You're going to want to do some analytics among that reporting as well, so that you can do a better job of keeping customers and focusing on new customers. So as we look at the products that we have, and as we look at the market that we're going into, we see the need to have reduced operating expenses, improved workflows, and automation that will help us in satisfying many of these issues, and actually at the end simplifying our management of the environment, the manageability of the environment, and providing better security and compliance. Today we offer product in the DDI space for Prime Network Registrar that consists of 4 components. All of these components can be used in an environment for the Internet of Things, for your premise environment, cloud environments. Internally here at Cisco, we have Cisco Cloud Services that's using these technologies. So as we look forward to how we leverage these technologies and these applications, we see much opportunity for our customers. And specifically, I'll tell you about these things in a little bit more detail. We have separate components for DHCP and DNS and IP address management, as well as DNS caching as a separate saleable component in conjunction with the DNS authoritative component. All of these can be purchased in bundles, and when Cisco does provide these bundles, we give you a better price because we understand as you look at the technology that you're making a bigger commitment to Cisco, so Cisco rewards you with a better price when you do bundle purchases. As we look at these, you can also get these as individual elements or components. The IP address management one is a specific component that we feel is very important to offer a heterogeneous solution. This is a solution that can work with Microsoft, it can work with ISC, and whether you're using Microsoft or ISC or Cisco services for your DHCP and DNS, you can use this IP address management solution. In fact, you can use this IPM tool as a way to bridge multiple service providers. So if you have a mix of perhaps Microsoft for your DHCP and Bind for your DNS, you could still manage both from the same single interface. So this is a product that we sell for supporting and managing the address space, and it supports both V4 and V6. As a The IPv4 and IPv6 product, we are also standards compliant. So we look at standards compliance as being a necessary component of the environment, and all the products that you see here are all standards compliant elements. So all these are integrated components. They're licensed individually or as bundles, and they all run on Linux, on the Windows Server operating system. We recently introduced our last version on Solaris, and we just introduced the Open Virtual Appliance Deployment Package. The OVA is a part of the deployment packages that are available, so as customers purchase these applications, they can install them on, again, the bare metal install with Linux, Windows, or Solaris, but they can also leverage the OVA. Cisco doesn't charge, and our software doesn't charge any additional money for the OVA or for things like failover or high availability. I'm going to hand off for a moment to my associate, Pete Newcomb, and we'll have Pete drill into a little bit about our cloud readiness. Pete?
Thank you, Charlie. Cloud ready. So there's a number of elements that are really required to be cloud ready, and one is multi-tenant support. So we're fully multi-tenant support with role-based access control for both administrators and customers. As well, with our release of 8.3, we offer OVA packaging for VMs, which makes it much easier for deployment in clouds for projects. And with the release of 8.3, we support a RESTful API, which is a requirement for cloud deployments. And if you're not familiar with the REST API, it's a common set of communications protocol, stateless, and client server, and it offers a universal interface. And it is a requirement for deployments in cloud, especially in OpenStack environments, for inclusion of your product into the cloud environments. And just an indication of how the DDI solution is used in the cloud. So we have the cloud administrator on the left in OpenStack referred to as the user, not to be confused with the tenant, but the cloud administrator will actually provision through orchestration IAC if it's a Cisco deployment, Heat if it's OpenStack, and through that orchestration they'll create tenant accounts, assign IP address blocks for the tenants, and create containers for those IP address blocks to be in. So the IPAM module is used for those containers. And then so that when a tenant, which is assigned, now that tenant could either be a tenant administrator or a tenant user, but anyone who's requesting service then will be through orchestration, go down through the system, and as they order up an instance, a VM, they'll actually be taken seamlessly into the IPAM system through orchestration and get assigned an IP address from one of those pre-assigned subnets. And as well, when they get that IP address, they'll be registered as a host through DNS, dynamic DNS updates into the DNS environment.
Excellent. Thank you, Pete.
You're welcome.
So let's talk a little bit more about the IP address management aspect of the product. Again, using Cisco Visual Network and some other sources, I wanted to provide some context for connectivity getting complicated and how complicated can it get. And as you look at this data, IDC specifically gave us some information around 20.4 billion connected things worldwide, currently growing to approximately 30 billion by 2020. So we're talking a significant number of devices. And as we look at connecting all these devices, each and every one of these devices needs to be able to have a network assigned address, has to have an ability to be found using DNS, and of course, you want to make sure that you're managing your address space properly. So here's where IPAM can play a key role. Cisco Visual Networks Index forecasts that we have 500 million net new devices. So these are new devices in addition to what's already established and connections added in the mobile space by 2014. So as you can tell, and obviously with Samsung and Apple and the growth that they've both achieved in selling smartphones and the market itself, the growth and the tremendous growth that continues to happen there, you can see that this area continues to be an area where management of your devices and your address space are going to be vital. Globally, IPv6 traffic is estimated to account for about 52% of the traffic, of mobile traffic, by 2019 compared to only 13% at the end of this past year. So this is going to continue to be more and more important. More devices coming online. There'll be devices, more tablets, more smartphones. Who knows what additional devices for mobility, could be GPS devices, et cetera, that all have IP addresses that will need to be tracked and managed. And then we have 6.2 billion V6 capable devices by 2019, up from 2 billion in 14. So last year, 2 billion IPv6 capable devices. You can see the V6 space is really increasing rapidly. So assuming IDC's forecast is correct and assuming that the total IPv4 space of, let's say, 4.3 billion addresses is doubled via an aggressive use of overlapping of the address space, there'd be a minimum of 11 billion connected things that will be connected via IPv6 IC. So I think this number is a little bit low here at the bottom. I think it's going to be even higher. As you look at the Internet of Things and managing the space and the complexity that's involved, you want to manage networks that really have decreasing availability of IPv4 space. So you want an authoritative system of record. IPAM gives you that capability. All right, you want the ability to have all of the access, all of the management, all of the visibility to your IPv4 space and manage it aggressively. As a network operator, you're looking to map your IP space. So you want to actually look at a real-time view of your network, and views could be a way to support the cloud, where VPNs identify customers. So views in the sense of using DNS with the views capability. You can actually use that in the cloud-based environment to have separate customers. So as service providers look to grow their business for commercial customers and using technologies to manage these commercial customers or letting those customers manage themselves by hosting services, you need to still manage address space in those environments, and so you need the right tools to do that. As we look at transitioning to a V6 space, in a cloud-centric world, automation is going to rule, right? You really want to have the ability to have as much of this environment automated as possible. You want to have specific pools of addresses identified that you can actually pull from for specific device types or policies. This is something that you can do with an IPAM tool. With IP address management, you're given the opportunity to do that. We can also do this using special APIs that Cisco has in our product. And as Pete was mentioning, using the RESTful Web Services interface. So standards compliant interface, OpenStack integration with that interface, the opportunity to manage these devices based on specific policies and from specific scopes. So you can actually assign an address for a class of device or classes of devices to very specific scopes. And the multi-tenancy capability that we talked about and the VPN capability would give you an opportunity to host for your customers their environments and even give them the opportunity to manage their address space, even though it is a hosted environment. We offer a very robust, full-featured IP address management solution. It's somewhat simple in that it gives you a centralized view, an integrated view of your DHCP and DNS services. It does give you the opportunity to do both V4 and V6. And as you look at the product, you'll find that you want to do server configuration from the IPAM tool and actually push from the management interface of IPAM out to the services themselves. That gives you that capability, so you can do automated IP tracking, you can do allocation and full network discovery, you get the UI for real-time visibility. You want to be able to do detailed reporting and auditing, diagnostics of your environment. You want to set thresholds of utilization. You want to be able to really navigate in an environment that gives you the ability to very easily and quickly find command options and to set up your environment with role-based IPAM delegation of both DNS and DHCP. We already mentioned the fact, but it bears repeating, that we have a product that does support both ISC bind and Microsoft-based services. And as I said earlier, we also, of course, have integrated our own DHCP and DNS services, which offer very high scalability, dual stack capability, and the industry's first and only DHCP v6 failover. This is an image of lifecycle management for your IPAM. This is the way that we present the product. It gives you an opportunity to very easily and cleanly manage your environment and to manage it on an ongoing basis. And as you look at this, what you see is you've allocated your address space for both v4 and v6. You have a plan that you want to implement. You take this v4 and v6 space that you've got in plan and you deploy it so that your services get deployed. Again, multiple vendors are supported here. And you have an opportunity, once you've done your deployment, to do network discovery to find out what's actually been deployed is actually what was planned. If you have any inconsistencies or if you have any opportunities where you find that something is a discrepancy from what you had planned, you want to be able to reconcile that. So what you do is you do this on an ongoing basis. Some aspects of this could even be scheduled for recurring, and you can do the discovery, for instance, and go ahead and on an ongoing basis manage your environment in a very proactive way. We actually manage all of your environment from a single interface. So you've got the single pane of glass metaphor here. You can integrate data collection from routers, address resolution protocol, caches, ARP caches, the servers themselves, ping sweeps. You actually do reconciliation. You have your alerts, capacity management, and unsurpassed user definability, so that you can actually, in the application, define in a model we call a container model, who has access to a container. You can set up children containers, and in those children containers, you can actually have very specific rights and privileges only for those containers where you've allocated a specific scope or subnet. And you can have administrators managing that. So you could see very cleanly how you could manage the environment where you have a large number of devices coming in. Cisco offers the OVA that we mentioned earlier. The OVA is available at no additional cost. These OVAs are being posted to our download site. Using your CCO ID as a customer of the product, you would be entitled to download these OVAs. What we've done is we've actually created a virtual appliance. The virtual appliance is something that uses the CentOS operating system, and it comes imaged with the Prime Network Registrar DHCP and DNS services. We will shortly offer a similar IPAM version of an OVA. And as you go ahead and download those, there's, again, no additional cost for downloading them. You could download them and use them in your lab as trial basis. You could go ahead and use them and set them up for cold store backup. You want to have these available. Basically, they're pre-configured virtual appliances, and they're very easy to install. It takes about 8 minutes to install these once you've downloaded them. And in an organization where you've got a virtual infrastructure, these are set up to run already fairly cleanly with ESXi and the VMware environment. As an OVA package, it's a single image, so it's a bit easier and smaller as a download. Previously, we were offering OVFs. We're going to change that and just offer the OVAs moving forward. Now, we believe they're better suited to our customers' downloads and also gives us an opportunity to then start to validate with additional hypervisors like KVM, which we're working to validate as well. We also offer a physical appliance. The physical appliance is based on the Cisco UCS product family. This product is actually based on the C220 M3, and it comes pre-installed with integral hard drives. The disks themselves are 300 gigabytes. They're RAID 1 striped, so you get the maximum throughput to those drives, and they're the 15,000 RPM spindles, so they're the fastest disks that you could get, and they're RAID 1 striped for additional performance benefits. So as you have those drives, you also have the ability to have virtual machines on this system. We have the virtual appliance that we previously talked about, image used here, and we also include a license for VMware's ESXi. So we get a license that's pre-installed, and the image is pre-installed. All you have to do is put your license in once you've powered up the system, and you're up and running. This appliance is not a closed appliance. The management of the OS is your responsibility. Cisco doesn't issue patches for the OS, but it does issue updates to the deployment packages for the virtual images, which you could use and install as you see fit. Looking forward, we want to talk to you about OpenStack. Here, we're doing a lot of work with the cloud services team here at Cisco around OpenStack compatibility. We're doing that in support of the Cisco Cloud services that are being rolled out worldwide. Those services are being rolled out through partners, and as we roll these out, each of the OpenStack deployments will be utilizing the Prime Network Registrar, DHCP, and DNS services. And as you look at us moving forward, we have the opportunity to leverage the REST APIs additionally in other areas based on orchestration and in integration with other Prime applications and other Cisco applications or third-party applications that are OpenStack compatible. We offer one of the industry's highest scalability products in regards to our DHCP. We are running some of the largest networks in the world today. In fact, we have customers that are running upwards of 100 million devices using our DHCP. Cisco's network is run using the Prime Network Registrar DHCP product, and many of these customers that are running our DHCP product are also using the IPM tool. They may be using it from Cisco, or they may be using it from our OEM. We actually OEM the product from BT America, and what we do is we license that product and integrate it into our services so that we actually ship with a product that actually leverages our DHCP and DNS as well as ISC and Microsoft. We also offer the resilience that I mentioned earlier regarding DHCP v6 failover. Again, the industry's first implementation and currently the only vendor shipping v6 failover. We also offer other resilience as well. So we have a very Cisco-centric approach here, and it affords a single support and solution for providers. So service providers that look to this product will have an opportunity to have a single support organization. The advanced services organization and the back-end tax support for the product are all Cisco. This is true for the IPM product. It's true for all the products we're discussing here. And as you look forward, Cisco Cloud Services will be leveraged to utilize the same services and support organizations that have leveraged here. We are, again, supporting the dual stack capabilities today. We are standards compliant. We offer the resilient and scalable DHCP services that I was mentioning, and we do have an opportunity to map address space to manage the transition from a v4 to a v6 environment. So if you're looking to protect your investments and your customers are looking to protect investments, they can rest assured that they've already invested in and have the capability and capacity to support v6 today. And this is an extensible solution that does give you the opportunity using extensions that the software supports, and APIs through SDKs that are web services based with the IPM tool, as well as the DHCP and DNS tool to offer you integration into BSS and OSS applications in-house. And finally, as you look at security, we currently offer DNS security with our product for the caching server, and with our release this week of Prime Network Registrar 8.3, we actually introduced DNS Firewall, which introduces support for response policy zones. So customers can actually subscribe to third-party providers that aggregate and maintain the data for which sites are malevolent, so that you can actually have that information come in on an ongoing basis, so that you're currently able to see at any given time what sites are the malevolent sites. Those sites are blacklisted. You have that information in your DNS, and it gives you an opportunity to maintain a higher level of security in your environment. I wanted to mention that we're also USG v6 certified. The products have been certified by a independent third party. We continue to play a role in driving the transition from V4 to V6 here at Cisco, and having USG V6 certification capable products are part of that move towards a V6 and support of V6 internationally. If you are dealing with any government agencies, public sector agencies, you probably are aware that they are required by law to be IPv6 capable. So having a product like this certainly does give you an opportunity to talk to any public sector customer. I mentioned the performance and scalability of the product. I just wanted to rehash it a little bit here. Our dedicated DNS caching server is capable of 160,000 queries per second. Our DNS authoritative is capable of 100,000 queries per second. And we also have the DHCP capability of supporting upwards of 100 million devices that I mentioned, and has outstanding performance as well, with the ability to support 40 to 45,000 leases per second. Reliability, again, support for the DHCP and V6 failover. V4 and V6 both use a very simple model for failover. We also offer high availability, and the graphics that we're seeing here is indicative of our patented discriminating rate limiter. The discriminating rate limiter is actually a filtering mechanism based on packet prioritization. What it does is it gives us an opportunity in a catastrophic event, an avalanche scenario, to actually let the discoveries come back fast so that we can get them online as we recognize them and get them to reconnect. And new requests, new discoveries are actually held off while we do that to reduce any impact to the network getting back online. This gives us an opportunity to reduce a downtime after a catastrophic event or a network outage. We also have a chatty client filter. The chatty client filter is included at no additional cost, as is the discriminating rate limiter. And this technology is written, actually, the chatty client filter is written using our extensions capability, which we talked a little bit about extension support earlier. And the chatty client filter lets you listen for, chatter on the network from devices or class of devices that may have some issue with them with regards to their lease. Maybe they recently had a new BIOS update, and for some reason they're not recognizing their lease. You want to be able to go back in there and kind of wall them off and mitigate any impact to network traffic. And the extensions that we use for the chatty client filter are available to all of our customers for integration into OSS and BSS environments that they are currently supporting. And our customers use these and have used these extensions capabilities very significantly and successfully over a number of years, over the last 15 years. And we maintain support for these as best we can and have done an excellent job of doing that as we've moved forwards. Today, we're offering on the DHCP and DNS side the REST-RESTful Web Services APIs. And on the IPM environment, we offer the SOAP APIs so that we can actually support extensibility through those APIs as well. We talked about the DNS security, and I don't want to belabor it too much more other than the fact that this is something that is very important in regards to preventing data spoofing and DNS cache poisoning. This is something that gives you an opportunity to provide authenticated data to the end user. And with our newest features, specifically the features around DNS firewall, you now have an opportunity to have standard DNS zones and processes to define lists of fully qualified domain names, addresses, ranges, and subnets. And you can then subscribe to that third-party security organization we mentioned so that you can actually maintain an ongoing list of malevolent sites. And when those sites are cleared, you'll clear them as well. So it has an opportunity there to maintain a list of good sites. And we also support the ability to assist users for non-existent domain name requests by redirecting them to a site of your choice as a service provider. That's the Cisco product, and we wanted to tell you about it today, and we hope that you got good information there. If there's any specific questions, feel free to put them in the QA window. We will do what we can to answer them here, and this recording will be posted for availability. Katie, I'll hand over to you.
Okay, guys, we're back in the we're back in the live session and going to try to answer some of your questions. Sorry about that interruption. I lost audio. So I believe we are back. Charlie, do I have you?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
And Pete, you're on too, right?
Yes.
All right, let's see. See if we can go through some of these questions starting up here. Looks like some of these have already been addressed. Should we read some of them and go with the answers?
So here's the one. Is there a software that we can install to give us status on our Cisco devices in their iOS version in EOL and license 2?
We can't hear you very well, Pete.
That's because I don't have the speaker at my mouth.
There you go.
I was looking at the one. Is there software we can install which gives us the status of our Cisco devices in their iOS versions and EOL and EOS and licenses too? That's a lot of requests.
Yeah, we don't, in the application, have a capacity for telling you within the app or in band whether it's been EOL'd. We do have a website that Cisco basically generates externally that has the end of life for various products. Each product has their own page for end of life notifications. If you're looking for specific products, you would want to look on the Cisco site for those specific products. For instance, Prime Network Registrar would have its own page for end of life product.
So there was another one, where can we get more detailed information about Prime? I did post in there, I think it's an answer that everyone can see, www.cisco.com/go/network registrar.
And I see a question, can Prime Registrar prevent your IP address from being blacklisted? No, we do not have a ability to prevent your address from being blacklisted. Your site gets blacklisted through external root servers, so we wouldn't be able to prevent that. But I guess I don't understand the context for the question. If there's some confusion about it, I think maybe you could ask a follow-up question. I see another question here. Pete, you might take this. Could you link discovered subnets with VLANs?
I think that I answered that.
Did you answer that?
Yeah,
Yes,
and the answer is yes. Through our discovery capability, we're able to, whatever the router will report to us when we do our subnet discovery, and typically the router returns VLANs, interfaces, VRFs, that information that's configured in the router with regard to that subnet.
Great. And you also mentioned that IPAM offers user-defined fields.
Yes. If you need to manually assign that information to an IP address, a subnet, or block, we do that with user-defined fields and information templates.
And then there was a question around upgrades. Can customers upgrade directly from Cisco Network Registrar 7.2 to the Prime Network Registrar 8.x family? The answer is yes, you can.
Yes, I answered that and also provided a link to the Go Registrar, and you'll be able to find a white paper there that will talk about the upgrade compatibilities.
Super. And what extra connections do you need in order to use a CNR? Is there a centralized management system? CNR, by the way, is the previous name for the product, Cisco Network Registrar. About 3 years ago, we renamed the product under the Prime banner, and it's now called Prime Network Registrar. When we did that, we introduced the new component licensing model that we discussed here in this presentation. Prior in CNR, it was one license. Now you have the opportunity to upgrade from CNR, and we didn't say this earlier, so maybe we should, to either the entire portfolio, and you'll pick, specifically the DHCP DNS upgrade, and or you could upgrade just components of it. So let's say you're only using our DNS. If that's all you wanted, you could upgrade just to the DNS 8.x family, or you could upgrade both using the bundle for DHCP and DNS. As with this CNR product, and you're asking, is there a centralized management system? In CNR, back in the 7.1 version, we introduced the concept of a regional manager. We continued to offer the regional manager through 7.2 and into the 8.0 Prime Network Registrar family. In the 7x version, it was not a requirement. In the 8.0 introduction of Prime Network Registrar, we made the installation of the regional manager a requirement. So from 8.0 forward, the regional manager is a required install, and it's used specifically to install your licenses, and there are a number of other benefits related to it as well. You can, if you've got geographically dispersed data centers, you can actually push your administrative rights and privileges down to those local clusters. You can also set up templates for scopes and zones that you push out to the local clusters. It's also a place where you could do a sign-on from the central location using the regional into your local clusters, assuming you have the administrative rights to do so. So it gives you a lot of flexibility and capabilities. Another question here is, can Prime Registrar prevent your IP address? Oh, that's the same one, the blacklisted. No. Is there software that we can install which gives us the status of our Cisco devices and their OSs? We already talked about that.
So there's another one down here, Charlie, about HA. Can CNR servers be in different networks? The answer is yes. The Prime Network Registrar operates at layer 3. So you can have those servers anywhere in the world you'd like, as long as your firewall rules allow them to be.
And
yeah, there's one more question around, is there a lab license for available?
So we don't have a lab license. What we do is we issue temporary licenses. You can go to the Cisco store and you can download the application, and it'll come with a 90-day license. So you can do that. If you're working with a channel partner or Cisco and you need a license in your lab for a longer period of for proof of concept or something of that nature, feel free to have your channel partner work through their Cisco contacts to connect back to myself. And at that point, what we can do is we can issue a license in support of that specific initiative.
Yeah, and then there's also a question through the chat window. It says, is there currently some IOE certification available?
I'm not aware of any IOE certification. I'll have to look into that. I don't have a definitive answer for you there.
Okay. And a follow-up question by is regarding the website, but it says it's looking for something more extensive like case studies. What we do, if you go to the website that Peter just mentioned, cisco.com/go/network registrar, there will be literatures like case studies, white papers below the page. But he's looking specific for examples like features like DNS firewall applied, etc. Charlie, are you aware we have a case study or white paper on that particular topic?
On firewalls?
Your DNS firewall.
Firewall, yes.
We don't yet.
It's something that I'll be working on, but right now we don't have a case study. Very shortly, a TDM, a technical decision-making deck, will come out, and in that will be a pretty good description of how the DNS firewall works.
I see. So basically, we know who asked that question. We'll reach out to try to reach out to the customer or at the privately. Okay.
Okay.
Where can I get a Cisco training?
So, depending on what training you're looking for, I'm assuming you're talking about Prime Network Registrar. You would go to Learning at Cisco, and they have training for the Prime Network Registrar DHCP and DNS components, as well as the IPAM component.
I'll try to find the link and type in the window.
Let me see if I can find it for you.
Oh, there we go.
Did you find it already?
Yes.
Great. Okay, is that it?
I believe so. As a reminder to all the attendees out there that are still on the call, a short survey is going to pop up when you close your browser. We appreciate your feedback. I hope that you all have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.